What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Make It Kustom. I'm Carl Fisher, and we are back on my favorite build at the moment. It's the ramp truck. I know everybody's got their favorite, but right now I'm so stoked on this thing because we're just having a ton of fun doing massive fabrication on it. And we've got plans, so all of June this thing's gonna be rocking around Canada and the States a little bit. More on that to come. We do have Brent from Halfass Kustoms. He's coming back to give me a hand as well, and he's gonna be part of this road trip all the way back to Winnipeg to Halfass Kustoms. So that's coming up in June as something that we're doing. I'm not sure exactly where this video is gonna drop, but we've got a ton of work to still get done. So every day we are slamming on this thing. In the last couple of videos, we got the shocks, dual shocks done on the front of the ramp truck. We got the sway bar done on the front of the ramp truck. And now today I need to get a sway bar on the rear. Now, I've been having a little bit of trouble finding sway bars, so we're just gonna build one from scratch. So this video, I'm building a sway bar from scratch for the rear of the ramp truck. It's gonna be big, it's gonna be beefy, and hopefully it's gonna keep us on the road. So don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. Let's get to work. Elio's giving me a hand with the steering. We've got some new steering link happening on the front of this thing. We originally kind of built this weird Heim joint slash, yeah. Anyway, we're changing the pitman arm of the steering to this, this F450 pitman arm. Actually, the link, we got this from our friends at Wrench Head's Auto Supply. They had a Super Duty axle sitting there that had the exact thing that we needed, the exact length and everything, and it's just like, it's a forged bar that even kind of kicks out around the diff housing, and so Elio's just putting it together right now. Check this thing out. Super beefy, nice brand new forged part that actually, this little bend in here will give us a little extra steering clearance with our massive tires, so it just seemed like it was meant to be. What we're gonna do for a sway bar is make one from scratch out of solid 1 3/4 cold rolled round stock. And I know there might be a little bit of, people wondering like, well, sway bar, shouldn't it be hardened, this and that? There are a bunch of different ways. There are anti-roll bars, there are sway bars, and it all depends on the amount of strength it has, the length of your arms, and how much spring the actual bar has. So if it's a hardened bar, high carbon steel, hardened, I'm not sure exactly what steel it would be in an actual sway bar, but it has a lot of spring, right? There's gonna be a little bit less spring in a solid 1 3/4 bar, but I've seen the guys use these on 4x4s before and build their own sway bars, so I think we're gonna be okay. It's a little bit of a guess, but that's what we're doing here. We're just gonna try and figure it out. I've got pillow block bearings, and then I'm gonna make 2 tabs that are sort of double shear, holding on either side of a large chromoly Heim joint. Arm similar to the front sway bar, and we're gonna go down to what used to be the old shock mounts. And then our shocks that I just kicked over, those are gonna mount on this arm somewhere so that we have enough travel with the back. These bearings come pre-disassembled, I guess. I guess the same housing gets used for 2 different sizes, so we're gonna have to stick these things together. These just pop in from what I remember. Oh yeah, that one went in almost too easy. This oh, way too easy. The reason why they go in that way too is because, like, if you didn't know, pillow block bearings and even flange bearings, they're kind of like made on a radius so that you can run your axle like any which way. Like, it doesn't care, it doesn't have to be dead straight. You can actually like run these offset, and it's because farm implements are weird and shaft drive things can be kind of all over the place. So these have a bit of a offset machined into the bearing itself as well. So this actually is a collar that will keep the shaft spinning with the bearing so it doesn't slip, as well as keep it from moving side to side. So they kind of lock on only in one spot, like right there. Cold rolled steel is important when you're doing something like this, especially if you're using it as a shaft inside bearings. The reason being is that if you buy hot rolled steel, it's not an exact size. It means that it was run through hot and it's got all that mill scale on the outside, and that is what is gonna keep you from being able to slide it through a bearing. So cold rolled steel is what you want if you're gonna do something like this, where the outside has to be a size that is accurate enough to slip inside a bearing. So I'm thinking somewhere here, but it doesn't mean that it's for sure gonna be there. We'll have a look at some of our options. Now with it all the way down, we've got drive shaft clearance. Nothing else is gonna be in this area. You know, our deck is gonna be coming kind of like this. So our arms, I made shock mounts off the rear end here. We just need to make sure that we have all the travel, right? So being fully canned, our bars will probably be up here, and fully lifted, they're gonna be pointing down. So what we need to know is kind of where the halfway point is, because I think on the back we've got 13 inches of, no, we have more than that. Might have like 14 inches of travel. So from where we are here, do we have 7 inches up here that will clear our deck? We definitely do, because the top of the tire is gonna be the closest thing to the deck. Having some pretty long arms here is gonna be fine, as long as we don't go so long that our link bar binds with the rear end when it comes down. So I think I'm gonna design some bars right now that are gonna be relatively long, but I'll put a couple of different holes in them as well, so that we could make the sway bar stiffer or make it a little bit softer. The longer the arm is more of a mechanical advantage on the torsion of this bar, right? So if you can imagine it, if this is your shaft and out this far is where it attaches to the axle, you've got more leverage. And if it's closer, you've got less leverage. So if I were to put multiple holes in our sway bar link arms, the holes that are closer to the shaft would mean it would stiffen the sway bar, and the ones farther away from the shaft would make it a little bit softer. I'll pull out the computer and we'll just kind of make a couple of arms that are gonna be what they're gonna be, maybe like 12 or 14 inches at the longest, and then maybe 3 adjustment holes down. Oh, come on. Really? You're so close. Come on. Okay, this is one of my new favorite little tools. I've actually had it for a long time and didn't really realize how handy it was. I did get it from KBC also. KBC Tools. Thank you for this. Did not realize how handy it was. I know you said it was super handy. If you guys want one, those guys support the channel. They made a code for everybody. It's called Make It Kustom, all capital letters, all one word. Get a discount if you sign up on their website. But basically this is just like this is like a miniature router for steel. And you can adjust the depth of it to create a bit of a chamfer. So this thing barely fit on here, and it's because there's just a tiny bit of an edge from the plasma cutter. So I can just take this thing. I mean, it makes some chips. So, you know, you'll find them in your clothes later, but that should be enough. Oh, I might have to do both sides. Oh no, there we go, we're on. Look at that. Okay, so now we can kind of see where we're at with this. I think that's gonna work quite well. When it's all the way down, this can be up by quite a bit and we're still clearing. And then when we raise it all the way up, this will pivot down and it'll still have tons of clearance. So I think we can keep on moving. I'm gonna drill a couple holes so that we can bolt these pillow blocks down. And then we're gonna have to make a measurement eye to eye of our links. Where we're at right now is we can measure for our links. So like I was saying before, I just want to make sure that we have the correct amount of travel. I've said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. When you're setting anything up that has air ride, hydraulics, adjustable suspension, any custom suspension setup, you want not to be at ride height, you want to be at half travel when things are in the middle of their geometry. You want to set everything up when it's level at ride height. That is true if you are, you know, sprung weight, like with a static suspension. But if you have adjustable suspension, you want the equal amount of geometry at both extents, meaning all the way up or all the way down. Those are your extents. If this bar is level and we've got kind of a 90-degree angle between our bottom point, this point, and this point, that is what I would consider neutral. We know what our travel is, it's 14 inches. We want to be 7 inches above from that. So I'm going to measure eye to eye with it all the way down. Of course, we do have a little bit of adjustment in those bars themselves, and we have adjustment in this bar. So what I am going to do, I'm likely going to just only use this outside one. We don't need to make it too stiff, I don't think. It's going to be ultra stiff already. So we're looking at about a 19-inch center to center bar that we're going to make with our, what did we say the measurement was? 19 inches? With that 19-inch piece, I remember because we just did the sway bar on the front, between the center of the link and the end of where the tube welds is 2.5 inches. So we would deduct 5 inches from our measurement of 19 inches, which would give us 14 inches. And that's how long the tube is. So I'm gonna go to the bandsaw, I'm gonna cut 2 14-inch pieces of tube. We're gonna drill them so that we can plug weld them to our weld-in bung inserts, and then we'll weld around them. We'll make these links, we'll bolt these on, and that's when we can start tacking and figuring out the rest of how we're gonna box this in to be super, super strong. This self-start option is so cool. All right, we got our links made. They've cooled off for a second here. And like I've said before, you gotta use never sees on stuff like this. Like, who knows when the next time these things are gonna get turned once we've put them in, and they're just gonna seize up if you don't do this. Okay, if you didn't miss the last video, I'll go over this again. When you're using a heim joint or any threaded adjustable link, right? The thread engagement is super important. So some common misconception would be that you can stick the jam nut there and have the same amount of thread for adjustment. That's not true. So what you want is, if this is a 3/4 inch shank, you want 3/4 inches of thread engagement at the very least, very least. So if we're gonna put these into kind of like neutral adjustable, like they could be adjusted both ways the same amount, then you would kind of want the jam nut about there, like 3 or 4 threads, because 3 or 4 threads on the other side of this jam nut brings you to 3/4 of an inch left over. So there isn't as much adjustment as they look like they have, because you must have a minimum of the shank diameter as thread engagement. So something to keep in mind if you're doing this. Actually, I'm gonna get a little bit more on there. You cannot really have too much of this stuff, really. If you're local to me and you need these things, like heim joints or any kind of like adjustable links, I just go to Mopac, Mopac Performance. Yeah. Oh, I'm missing one. I have to go find my other one. I'm really enjoying this this big fab stuff, you know? Like, sheet metal's fun, but I kind of like cut my teeth on hot rods doing suspension stuff when I decided to be an irresponsible entrepreneur and just was like, hey, I can install your air ride. I'll do it for 40 bucks an hour out of this garage. I've got a welder and a drill press and a grinder. Like, hire me, please. And that's how all this started. Meeting the right people that are willing to let you work on their stuff. Like, I did a lot of free work just to put myself in a position where I could work on some old cars. Like, I didn't have money, didn't have an old car. My first car was a Manx dune buggy. If you haven't yet kind of found your crew of people to work with, work on your car, go buy car parts from people, and don't be shy, talk to them, see what you can learn, see who's around, see, what shops are around, offer to sweep the floor. If you just go knock on the door of a shop, they might not give you the time of day because they busy, they working, they're doing stuff. But if you go there and you're like, hey, let me sweep your floor, I'll shut up and just sweep the floor, You might get you places. Did I do this right? What do I got here? Yeah, 3/4, 5/8, lefts, rights. Okay, we are ready to bolt these on. These are like some little misalignment washers. I got really lucky with this because the shocks that used to mount to the rear end, we made the brackets the right width for those shocks, and just so happens this, with these two misalignment washers, is the exact size that the shock was. So they fit perfectly on the bottom, and then the top, we're just gonna run a 3/4 inch bolt through those plates that we just made, and that will be the top. So I'm gonna throw this on now. Got to come over a little bit. Well, there it is. That is our sway bar. So the next thing I got to do is actually weld these to this, and then I'm going to cap it with a top piece to strengthen it, because right now it's not very strong just being 2 pieces of flat bar, so we're gonna have to box this up. So I'll probably just take some flat bar, or I don't know if I even have the right size. That's next. I'm just gonna cut a couple pieces for this, bring the welder over. We're gonna lock this bar in place as long as I'm happy with where the axle or where the shaft sits here. And we're gonna weld the inside, weld the outside, like really, really, really weld it, plus the top cap, and I think that that should be good. Then we'll be done that, and we're on to making our dual shock mounts, which that'll be the next video. So the trick to doing what I'm doing right now is that if you heat too much here and not enough there, it's gonna bend there first. So as much as it's like a little bit of a game that we're playing here, I do want to see a little bit more heat on the end where the bend is beginning, right? So this end, I want more heat there so that when I wrap it, it starts taking the shape here first. If it bends here first, you're never gonna get it around. So it worked perfect on the first one. And I mean, I don't know, you know, if it doesn't always work out, so I'm not gonna say too much. But that is what I try to do. A little bit more heat at the beginning so that, like, the whole thing needs to be like red hot, but you want just a little bit more into the start of the bend. And you gotta do it quick, like there's no messing around. I don't really wanna hit it with a hammer if I don't have to, especially when it's hot. You wanna get that nice bend, you just gotta commit. Okay, going for it. Oh, come on, come on. Oh. Yeah. Yahtzee. Yep, like we did it. Yeah! We did it! All right, whew, that's hot. Hey, don't do that. That was a trick, if you didn't catch that. Sometimes if there's like a little ball stuck on the tip, I'll like hit the trigger and then touch it to ground. Like hit the trigger and then be off the trigger, touch it to the ground, and just the tiny little spark that it makes, sometimes is enough to just stick to the table and then you can just pull on it and it busts off. It's right there. Anyway. When you're welding with MIG, you're basically looking for that sound and you want it to flatten out a little bit. I'm gonna do the whip and pause technique where I'm actually just kind of like, I push and then like I'm whipping it and I pause to fill it. So it's kind of like a burn forward, come back, fill, burn forward, come back, fill. That's what I'm gonna do to weld it. Eh? It's so heavy. Got it all installed. This massive beefy link set up, 10 feet of welding, all MIG on quarter. Have not lifted it up yet, so this is kind of the first trial of that. About 7 inches down from where we were. Elio and I will just hang off of both sides on it like a couple apes. There's like nothing happening back here. Like I can actually see the chassis twisting and this not twisting. But yeah, I don't know. If you're a truck guy and you know about this, maybe that's too stiff. I really don't know. But I know that this main bar, see how like the chassis is actually 1/2 inch thick right here? The plate is doubled. I can pretty much guarantee that if we are gonna hang on a roundabout, getting onto a highway and we're accelerating and we're just like, you know, doing one of these, it's not gonna do that. It's very stiff, but that's what we're going for. We don't want any body roll. We got sway bar front, sway bar rear, front shocks. Now we need rear shocks. I was talking with Brent last night and he's like, I think you're going a little bit too far. I'm like, maybe, I don't know. We're gonna call it a win. That's the bottom line. I think that's where we're gonna end the video here. Thank you very much for watching Make It Custom, everybody. Like I said, Elio and I are working hard on getting other stuff on the site. Like check these things out. Like I mentioned before, these wrench racks, I find them super handy. Maybe you guys do too. So we're doing Make It Custom little wrench racks for you guys. And you know, there's like a left and a right so that if you want to mount them like that, you can do so. And then we're also doing these Make It Kustom air tool racks for M-type air fittings. So it's kind of like organized like my cart. And then the same thing with vice grip racks. So those will be on the site if you guys want to get those. The other thing that we're doing that will also be on the site is finally we are going to offer the Make It Kustom Mother Tucker stump body hammer dolly organizer set. So what I've done here, we've got these plates that they all have these little slots in them, right? All those little slots allow you to put different length arms on them to hang all of your tools. So the kits will come with an assortment of arms. They'll come with these plates, as well as the bottom plate having the holes in them. And then also these fun little tabs that go sideways to help you divide up your dollies. I'm just trying to think of ways that people in their smaller garages can stay organized and efficient and still have, you know, stuff to metal shape with. So those will be on the site. Check those out as well, japhandskustoms.com. We're also getting a bunch of new merch coming up. We've got, oh, I'm not wearing the hat right now, but there's a Make It Kustom flat brim snapback now. And then there's also some Baby Buick t-shirts. And then we've got a couple other t-shirt styles coming as well. Here's the Make It Kustom flat brim. Thanks a lot, everybody. Hope you guys are getting your projects done. Enjoy the weather coming up, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.